Okay, so Black Clover has just revealed what Asta's ki is capable of. So if you use your ki, flowing through your body into your hand, and destroy that like button, I'd greatly appreciate that. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, well, if you remember where we left off, Ichika had just owned those bandits and grabbed Asta's face. And so we start off this chapter with Asta realizing that he met Yami's sister.
Wow!
As Asta's there squirming, making all that noise, the bystanders there are starting to notice that he's a foreigner. He doesn't quite look like them. He kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Not wanting to cause any commotion, Ryu quickly takes hold of them and takes off.
Gotta go fast.
He also remembers that Leibe should be getting better by now. So they go off into where Leibe was getting nursed back to health, and as they approach the door, some big blob pops out. Got the boy Asta shaking in his boots. But it's not a blob, but actually a fish. And it's of course the sorcery of that medic right there who has a scroll out. And Ryo introduces him as Mikuriya Fumito, and he's a local Yojutsu genius. Definitely an interesting form of magic. So it seems as though he uses those fish to heal people who are wounded. As we see here, one of the fish just spits out Leibe. He points out that it's his first time ever giving medical treatment to a creature like him, so it took him longer than usual. And Asta right here is just stricken with joy as to seeing Leibe in good health again. He must have thought he was dead or something. He's a little too surprised. They get served some food and Asta is really enjoying it. And Ryo points out that Fumito is a genius when it comes to cooking as well. Although quickly into the meal, Asta brings up that he should probably go back soon again. And he's getting a bit frantic here because he's asking Ryu, like, there's gotta be a way I can get back, right? But Ryo has to then remind Asta again that if he went back at that time, it would not be a good idea. And Asta just begins to straight up panic. We do gotta keep in mind, Asta doesn't know that Lucius left the battlefield. So I guess from his point of view, he's assuming that Lucius is going on a rampage, killing people. Yes, right now, Asta's thinking the straight worst. For all he knows, a straight massacre is going down in the Clover Kingdom. And then Ryo has to point out again that, you know, it's good, you got some time left. But Asta's just in denial because he just has no clue what's going on in the Clover Kingdom. And then he's going off about how he's never going to be strong enough. But finally, Ichika knocks some sense into him, gives him a nice firm pimp slap. And she's like, I don't know what's going on with you, nor do I care if you die. It definitely seems as though Ichika is a lot more cold than Yami is. Like, Yami came off as a little cold when he was first introduced, but it was nothing on par with this.
Cut my life into pieces!
She then goes on to say, but the fact that you're even alive right now is thanks to Ryuuya-sama and Mikuriya Dono saving you. It's funny because they're like sweating bullets and they're just glad they didn't get hit themselves. Ichika goes on to say, foreigners like you are said to be the main cause of disasters. Maybe to you he's a mysterious foreigner, but this man is the honorable shogun of our nation. So I'm guessing the land and the sun must have faced some tragedies like due to foreigners coming in. And I think that's also tied to Ichika's character and why she's so cold towards Asta. I definitely want to see like a backstory on that, to see just what happened or how that unfolded. Ichika also states that if you disregard his advice and throw your life away right after he saved it, then here and now I'll cut you down myself. Yeah, she's like trying to be super efficient because if you're just gonna go on a suicide mission, I could just kill you myself.
Come to the street, bro!
And that was enough to get Asta's mind back on track. And he's like, thank you so much for saving us. I take back my request to return home. But to reassure Asta, Ryu points out that if Lucius has his way, we'll all be in trouble. He says that Lucius has overwhelming physical strength and magic, so you're gonna be outclassed in a fight. You're gonna want to end the battle in a short amount of time. He then introduces something called Heavenly Severance, which is the ability that Ichika used to split herself into those 4 clones. Now Ryu here says for the 3rd time that he doesn't have any magic power, which is interesting. I'm not sure why he keeps restating that. Then he explains to Asta that you just concentrate and feel the ki. Ki is the flow of vitality and energy that everyone subconsciously uses to output their yoryuku. So they can take their ki, take all the yoryuku in their body and release it at once. And Ichika does a demonstration here and she uses Heavenly Severance. And similar to how she used it before, we see the flaring energy coming off of her eyes, and this time she's using a slicing motion as she slices a bamboo stick in half. She didn't necessarily touch it either, and she used her hand. So that's interesting. Not only was she not using a weapon, but she also didn't physically touch it. So that's interesting. You can also extend it from your body and from your body parts at that. So that's definitely something that can be utilized in very interesting ways. She points out that this yoryuku and speed creates an amount of force that ends up being explosive.
Explosions!
and Asta is shocked to see this display of power. She tells Asta to try it, but Mikuria is kind of confused. But of course he doesn't know Asta what he's capable of, so he doubts he can pull a feat like that off. Asta seeing Ichika pull off something like that with ki has him overthinking about his abilities, because this whole time he was capable of using ki and sensing ki, although he never thought of using it as an offensive ability.
The pressure is getting worse.
Ryo then points out that you've already seen how to use ki, haven't you? And now that you got Libe, anti-magic power is flowing through your body. He also adds that instead of Yoryuku, try using that anti-magic power. And so Asta just goes for it. He raises his hand, he gets his ki flowing, and we get a similar effect to Ichika. He has the energy going off his eyes, and then he makes a swinging motion with his hand. Although there seems to be like a delayed effect, because at first the bamboo isn't affected, but after a moment we see a pretty interesting reaction as the bamboo just seems to disintegrate. And they're both just shocked to see that, like, he's destroyed a piece of bamboo on his first try. That's crazy. But Ryo points out that this bamboo ain't supposed to be able to wither because it's grown with Yoryuku. So it seems as though he can use his anti-magic to destroy the magic within other objects, which is interesting. Ryo also adds that you already had a solid foundation, you just didn't know how to focus it. From here on, you're gonna gain a ton more experience.
No, it's only time to check me. Let's go!
And Asta just being shocked to his new abilities, he thanks Ichika, and he says that I can still be strong. And then Ichika just has a poker face because he says, please help me out, I'm counting on you. Now of course this is just the first step of him learning the abilities of using ki, so I'm definitely interested to see just what he will learn from the other 6 Ryuzen and how he's going to implement that with his magic, or if he can even do that. There's definitely a lot to be explored here. So it seems that Asta's training begins now. I can definitely see him growing a lot stronger if he learns how to utilize his ki properly. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate you sticking around. If you could use your heavenly severance on that like button, I'd greatly appreciate that. Consider subscribing as well. I promise you will like it here. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.